Thanks again for taking the time to join us today. As a reminder, this webinar will be recorded and posted to our website to view later or to share with others. If you have questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A panel and we will answer them as time permits. Now let's discuss today's agenda. First, I will discuss the industry challenges we are facing given the current COVID-19 pandemic, as well as an introduction to Cintoo Cloud core technology and how it helps maintain business continuity. Then I will turn it over to David Dreffs, who will give an in-product demonstration of how to create a project, upload data, and how to manage data and users. Then Dominique Poulikin will give an in-product demonstration of our core platform showing how to make measurements, crops, annotations, and issues, as well as demonstrate our different viewing options and how to download data to be used in other software solutions. And finally, we will close with a Q&A session to answer those questions that came in during the presentation. So now, on to the show. So what are the challenges we are currently facing? The safety and health measures introduced to reduce the spread of COVID-19 has forced most companies to allow employees to work from home. This rapid change in work processes has left many companies scrambling to sustain their business continuity. Companies are looking for ways to rapidly alter their business processes to work in a collaborative environment while maintaining social distancing and supporting remote project participants. A key ingredient to this process is to analyze current processes and introduce new technology to alleviate bottlenecks in effective collaboration. Customers are utilizing laser scanning as a viable solution to support government and corporate health and safety mandates, as it allows them to send only 1 to 2 people to capture a project site, and they can capture everything in one visit rather than having to go back and capture missing information that may occur using traditional survey methods. One of our customers sent us a quote that states, "COVID-19 is going to change the 3D scanning landscape for sure. We are now scanning everything because no one wants to go back to a site, even if it's just 3 to 4 setups for one room." Our second challenge relates to the large size of the data being captured. Each scanning position will generate between 250 megabytes to 2 gigabytes of data. So imagine the amount of data created to scan a facility with 100 or even 1,000 scans. So for the people that need to consume this data in their daily job, whether remotely, at home, in the field, or at the office, their only option is to ship a physical device, such as a hard disk, to these individuals or upload raw data to a private server. The result is that this data only supports a very desktop-centric workflow that needs high-priced desktop software run by experts that then decide who has access to the data. This creates data silos, not only silos within companies, but also silos with subcontractors. Now we will show you how Cintoo Cloud helps resolve these challenges. Cintoo Cloud is a collaborative platform for everyone. We have a very simple UI with no plugin required that can be used with industry specialists such as surveyors, engineers, architects, BIM managers, etc., but also with other stakeholders that may not have any experience with laser scans or 3D data. The core technology behind Cintoo Cloud is the capability to turn each point cloud from each scan position into a very high resolution mesh, including multiple levels of detail using our core wavelet compression technology. This compression allows us to stream very fast in a web browser. People refer to us as a Netflix of 3D data for this very reason. By performing this point cloud to mesh transformation, we will also make the data much smaller. We would reduce the size of the data by a ratio of 10 to 20 times. Let's say you start a project with 100 gigabytes of source point cloud data. Your upload to the cloud after transformation is only 5 to 10 gigabytes of data. The good news is that the inverse transformation of this compressed data is also possible. This technology retains the accuracy of the source sensor and the structure of the project. So we can bring back the mesh in its source point cloud format and retrieve back your 100 gigabyte of data. This is extremely unique to this technology. This technology is embedded into a platform called Cintoo Cloud. The goal of Cintoo Cloud is to make your laser scans fully cloud compatible, and by becoming cloud compatible, they become shareable, distributable, and viewable, and you can enrich this data with notes, measurements, etc. This enables a collaborative environment that supports BIM workflows. In terms of workflow, we take the data after it has been registered in software such as Autodesk Recap, Ferrocene, or Leica Cyclone. We take the data as a structured project. We need to have the vantage points, the panoramic images, the depth maps, the normals, etc. We then use a software called Cintoo Connect, which is a Windows application that will be run from the web app, where we will perform the point cloud to mesh locally on the client's computer. The transformed data will then be transferred automatically to your project in Cintoo Cloud. Now that this data is loaded to the cloud, everything streamed in the browser will be mesh-based. When we need to distribute back the data in its original form, we will do the inverse transformation of mesh to point cloud locally on the client's computer. We can now export unified mesh in OBJ, STL, FBX format for consumption in other applications. We can also produce reports, analytics, measurements, and annotations, as well as create hyperlinks to a shared viewer for distribution to those not on the project team. When we connect to BIM 360, we can pull IFC, Revit, Navisworks, and 3D DWG models into our project. The goal is to overlay the model with the scan data to detect issues. Those issues can be pushed back to BIM 360 as a BCF or a BIM collaboration file for distribution in your issue tracking applications. Cintoo Cloud is all about streaming high-resolution meshes in a web browser. We work on laptops and desktops, and we now stream to iOS and tablets. We also stream on VR headsets such as the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift and Rift S using WebVR as our toolset. So now I would like to turn it over to David Drefts, who will get us started with Cintoo by creating a project, uploading scan data, and how to manage the data while explaining user roles and permissions.
All right, I'm going to start off by running through a few things. We're going to create a project, upload some scans, and I'm going to show you how to organize scan data as far as how to put it in groups. And then we're going to work on managing our users and the hierarchy that goes with it and the roles and permissions. So let's get going. So let's log into Cintoo. And I'll be using our single sign-on. So we have a feature that allows us to use single sign-on into Cintoo. That way, once you log in one time, as long as you're logged into your either Microsoft account or your company's single sign-on, it automatically logs you in. Great feature for large companies with lots of users. Okay, let's go into our projects. And then we have two spots to actually create it. So top right here, you could say create project, or right here, new project, same thing. And we have the account manager. So I have the only account here that I'm assigned to. You can have multiple subscriptions. So here it tells you how many scans you've uploaded, how many you have available. So we still have 77,000 scans I can upload on here. Next, give it a name. And a description. This is optional. And definitely give it a start date. So we want to tell people when we started the project. We'll say it's today, 23rd. And then here we want to pick out on the map where it's at. Now, if you have the location enabled on your PC, it'll be wherever you're sitting. Otherwise, we can pick exactly where it goes. So it's right in here. And we can switch between this and satellite. That way I get a better idea. And here's my building. Okay, go back. And then we can choose a picture. This picture here is either one that is either a logo or a picture that you took on site. You can also choose this later in the project, and I'm going to come back to that and show you. And then here, we can select which server we wanted. So AWS on the CDN network, that's the global network for AWS. This is the widest range, the most amount of servers that you get for Amazon. Otherwise, we can pick what server we want on Azure or AWS in a certain region. So if you need to keep it in your country, or if you need to pick Azure as well as another great option, it's a very fast server, go with that. I choose AWS for this one. And we also have a private data center options for large accounts if you need to host it locally. This is an integration that we have. So, okay. All right. So project's been created. We can open our project here. Now there's a few buttons on this surface screen here. So our details about our project, just any information that we've input. So picture, start creation date, that's why that's important that we put that in there. Who created it, how many work zones and scans there are located in there. And we can just hit play and it'll drive us right into the scans if we hadn't uploaded. Deleting a project, we actually keep it in a deleted folder for up to a month. So this way, if you delete a project or accidentally delete it, it can be recovered from this tab over here. You can pull over into this tab and say, all right, these are the ones that I've deleted. And then editing the project. So this is where we're talking about being able to add the picture again. So I can choose a cover photo here. I could change the location. And again, the location that we picked is just a surface location. So we're not actually geolocating the scan data. We're just hosting it right here as a physical location. You'll see why in a minute. And we could say update, change the date and whatnot. And then the last one is sharing the project using share links to actually share this out to all your different users. This is our lightweight viewer, which I think we're going to show again a little bit later, so we'll get into that. But it's not the full interface that you see here. It's a URL that you're going to share with them, that you're going to create, and allows you to do password protection, creating work zones, an expiration on the URL. I highly suggest putting one of those, and then putting your company logo in here. This is actually a really cool feature. When you share with somebody, your company logo comes in, so it's branded with your own little unique logo. All right, let's open the project up. All right, so we've created a project. We're ready to go. There's a couple of different ways to approach this. I like to start off by just bringing all my scans in. So I could just say prepare and upload. Just make sure you have Cintoo Connect installed, and that's right here, the little connector. If you don't have it installed, just click right here, and it'll download the latest Cintoo Connect. Just so you know, it's a nice small app. It's only 84 meg, really small. So you can upload scans first. We also support 3D models and documentation. So prepare and upload. Open Cintoo Connect. So we're going to upload a small project, about 1,000 scans. Let's grab it off of our drive here. This one here I just grabbed from an RCP. So I aligned my scan data in like a cyclone, dropped it into recap, and I have a recap project here. So this is a structured data set. If I double click the RCP, it'll go into the project, find all the associated RCS, RCC files that it needs for the project. Now it goes through and collects all that data. And it's actually looking for the structured scan data. So we only support at this moment structured scan data. As you can see in this list here, we've got the name of the project, the size or resolution of the scans. You can see it has some low resolution, some mediums, and then all the way down. So if you don't want to pull in everything at once, you can uncheck, recheck, either one at a time or multiples at a time, and turn them on or off to either import or not. So this here, it's a lot of scans. And you notice how I label my scans. I tell it's the basement, 4th floor, 3rd, 1st floor, arcade, whatever the location is. I like to give it a name, and that plays an effect down the road when we're organizing our scans. You can either organize them by name, you can organize them by selecting them. On a busy site, the name is always the best way to go. One of the options here that you can select here is how many scans you want to process in parallel. And what that means is we're actually taking these scans and converting them into meshes locally on your PC. And you can do one up to as many processors as you have on your computer. So I've got an i9 processor, which means I have 16 processors that I can do in parallel. For me, I don't know why, I always happen to hit 6. That's just because it matches my upload speed. So I have a kind of slow internet connection, and it actually processes them faster than I can upload them. And we just say import. So this is going to process or convert 6 scans at one given time. And this process does take some time. So it actually depends on the quality of the scan data, what you're scanning, how many points there are, and the surfaces it have to make. Because again, it has to create all those polygons, all those triangles, that mesh. And this is coming from a Leica scanner, and I've definitely noticed that the higher end scanners that you have, the longer it takes to process because it has a higher quality mesh that is produced. So a low resolution scan, you're looking around a minute average or so per scan. If you're looking at a really high resolution scan, if this is here we have the medium resolution or a high resolution, it could take anywhere between a minute and a half, 2 minutes. If it's a full resolution scan like a Faro 1:1 or a Leica high res, you're probably looking at about 6 minutes per scan, and that is comparable to the amount of data you're bringing in, 300 million points. That's a lot of data, so it does take a little bit of time. So you'll see our compression engine that we have compresses them very small. So that 500 meg E57 file or a 150 meg RCS file, we compress down to 28 megabytes. That is it's pretty small. That helps on the uploading side. So when we're pushing the data up, nice and small going up, and then it also, when we're downloading it, comes back down as 28 megs, and then we uncompress it back to that original E57 files. Have heard some questions in the past, sometimes it doesn't come back down exactly the exact same amount of megabyte size. That's only because we do a little bit of cleanup. We might remove some of the noise in the air. If there's a car driving by, that might get removed, and that's just because we're creating a mesh. We're not altering any data. That's where our patent actually sits, is in the way we bring the data back down and uncompress it. It's very unique, and it maintains the structure of the data, but it might remove some bad noise in the project. So while these upload, you notice that they're coming up, and we just hit the bigger scans, so those might take a little bit longer, but they move down the list. 6 at any given time is what I picked, and I can just refresh this, and you'll see as they're uploading, the scans are immediately available. So we don't have to wait for all of them to come in to be able to start working on the project. We can see them right here and start to either organize them or just jump right into the project and start viewing them. So just while we were talking, I've uploaded 3 scans. I don't know if I could do that in box if it was in an E57 file that fast. We're in our navigation mode and click in the middle here, back right into the picture. So this is a intensity based scan. So as we move around, so those will start to come in, and I did happen to pick 1,000 scans. 1,014 scans is what we're importing. This will take some time. So what I did was I imported this ahead of time, and we'll jump over to that one. Alright, so we've got our 1,000 scans loaded up, and we've got 2 different ways to organize our scans. So we've got a list of the name of the scans, and up here is what we call work zones. And the reason we want to put our scans in our work zones is so that way we don't have to load or stream all of our scans at one time. So if we went over to our 3D view, it's going to take, depending on your internet connection, some time to load in all 1,000 scans. There it comes. Okay, so we got a building, bunch of floors inside here. right? A whole bunch of data inside. So we don't need to visualize all that at one time. So let's go back to our data tab. So first way to do that is create a new work zone, top right corner here. And I like to create these one at a time. So this one is 3rd floor. And we can either say create another work zone, and this will just keep popping up, or just hit create. So you notice in our Project Explorer, we now have the name of the project and then a folder here. And it's got 0 scans in the folder. And we can either just click and drag it in. So it moved it into that folder. If we open that folder up, we now have that 1 scan in there. And if we go to our 3D view, you notice we don't have that wait. Now it just loads right in very fast. Okay, so we go back to our project folder. We can do a shift click. So click the top one and then just scroll down to the bottom one, and then just hold down shift and click the bottom one. Alright, so I checked all those boxes. Go back up to the top, and then we can just drag it in. Now we'll make another one for the exterior. Okay, and so on and so on. So you can make a folder for each one of them. All right, the next way to do it is a more visual way. So let's go to our overview map. Let's see the scans load up there. So our overview map is all ortho views. So we've got top, left, front, right, back. And right here is our work zones. So we can open up our work zone dialog box. And here's one of the reasons for separating them into different work zones. So you can see here's our 3rd floor that we already chopped out. Here's our exterior scans. And these are our scans left over here. So I'm just going to go to a front view. And we've got a selection tool right here. Rectangle select, and you can see our different floors in here. So I can just grab the rectangle, highlight our scans here, and you can see they turn blue, and highlight them in this list here. And right here is our work zone creation as well. So we can hit create work zone. Call this floor. Add it into our list here. You can shut it off. Continue on. We already did the 3rd floor. If you want to zoom in, you just turn off your rectangle tool. It holds it in place. So we'll turn it back on. Grab our 2nd floor. This is the 2nd floor. Turn that off. Doesn't matter what order you go in, it'll organize it. Basement, turn that off. arcade. Grab these last two here. Basement. And last but not least, the first floor. Okay. Let's go back to our data tab. We'll just double check, make sure no scans were missed. And now we can see all of our folders in order here. So looking at our Project Explorer, we can either visualize the entire project by having it here at the top level, or we can click on any one of these and visualize just that level at once. So let's pick the arcade. We can see just these scans in here, arcade with the stairs included. Here's our 3D view. It's just displaying that one floor at a time. Really helpful for us to be able to just look at that one floor at one time. And this way it serves less data, it opens faster. We've got a few other uses for it too. So going back to our data tab, we've got each floor separated into a work zone, and you could have multiple work zones within a work zone. So you can break it down even further if you like. But there's some information that goes along here. So the information of the work zone when it was created. You can delete a work zone. You can edit the name, download the entire work zone at once, and you can also share this work zone with a single person or a group of people using your share. So next on the list is managing our project users. So at a top level, we want to manage our members. And I haven't invited anybody to this project yet. So at the top level, I can add a member. You can pick it from my list here. So I can say, all right, Alex, let's add you in. I want you to be a BIM manager. I'll have full access to the project, and just hit save, and it'll invite him. Now he just received an email letting him know that he's been added to a project, and it's been automatically added into his Cintoo account. The number of scans stay on my account, but he has access to it. And if you see going down this list, I can pick, and he's in every one of these folders. Now if you have contractors or people that you want in just one of these folders, think of it as an area in a plant or a floor, we can add in a member just onto this one floor. Let's say let's add Mark in here. All right, Mark, I want to give you surveyor access, and hit save. I think this is a really great feature to be able to keep people in the areas that they're allowed to be in. So if I go into the second floor of the main project, he is not in this list. So I only add under the first floor, and he only has access to that. Go into the main project, he doesn't have access to the main project. And we can go in and change that at any time by editing their info, or changing their, we can edit that at any time by changing their access to the work zone. So clicking the second one here, we can go in here and remove any user from any different level and hit save. So now I just removed Alex access to a few floors. If I go into those floors, see how we pulled it from the main project, he'll only have access to the ones that we allow him in. All right. More ways to add members. These are our past members that I've already had in here. We can create groups. Groups are created in the admin tab. And I'll show you that in a second. And here's our individual users. So I can start by saying, all right, I'm going to add in this person, give them access, or just continue to add in more and more people as we go. Okay. Sorry, over to my users. This is where we create groups. So here's our groups right here. And we can say add a group. And this is common for when you want to invite a lot of people. Often. You can give it a color, say it's red, and a description if you like. So in this team, it'll take you to the next step. And we can pick from our list Leo and Dom and Xavier here. And that'll be my main group. And say add users. We can also add users here at any time, continue to add on. We can also do a comma delimited spaced here, so you can just put a bunch of emails in. If you've got a huge list of users, you don't have to hand type them in every time or pick from the list every time. Just add them in like that. Okay, so if I go back to my project, open this up. Let's pop back to my members tab. Now I want to add my groups, Cintoo team. I want to make them all power users, BIM managers. Hit save. So displays as a list. You can go and check that anytime. Edit their access if you wanted to change their access at any time. Go back and just continue to maneuver things around. All right, I hope you enjoyed those few sections. I'm going to pass it over to Dom.
Thanks, Dave, for this very nice presentation. My name is Dominic Pouliquin, in charge of business development and product management. What I'd like to do first is to come back on a few topics that were addressed by Dave, mostly on users, on permissions. So not everybody can do everything with this platform. So we are very keen on safe access to the data, on the safe sharing of the data, of course. So let me show you how it works. So we have a user hierarchy at the company level and at the project level. At company level, you first find the admin. There can be, we can invite other admins. The admins will be the people buying the subscription and then managing the account for the company. Then the admin will name one or multiple project managers, and project managers have the capability to create projects and create those groups of users that Dave showed you. So Dave showed you how to create a group and then assign a group to a project, but creating a group of users is only a capability given to project managers. And then a project manager will then invite for each project one or multiple BIM or VDC managers. So BIM or VDC managers are really the key personas for at the project level that will then invite their team or their project members that will participate to a given project. So they can invite those as individuals or as a group of users defined initially by those project managers. Of course, if you're in a smaller company, all these roles can be played by the same person. So the account admin can be himself or herself a project manager. We can also be a BIM manager, and this is all managed by the platform nicely. So those BIM or VDC managers and all other project members, these are roles that are defined or predefined by the platform. And those roles are granted permissions. Let me go into the detail of that. So going to the platform in Cintoo Cloud, this is what you will see with roles and permissions. And we at Cintoo have defined, predefined a set of roles going from a BIM VDC manager to a contractor viewer. These are the predefined roles at the project level. And these are the permissions that go with each one of those roles. I will go into the detail of that. And if you're not happy with those presets, you can always have the capacity to define your custom roles. Note that these custom roles is a feature that is only available to project managers. So now let's look at some of the details of those permissions. Like for example, managing project members, so inviting new project members or deleting those project members is a capacity or permission granted to the BIM manager only. Uploading or deleting scans is available to BIM managers, but also to surveyors, of course. Creating work zones, as Dave showed you before, is a capability that is offered to BIM managers, surveyors, and engineers or modelers. Exporting or downloading reality data, like scans, of course, is available to a broader audience. And sharing data is only available to BIM managers or surveyors. So using the shared viewer, on the last webinar, we showed you all the new features coming with the shared viewer. This is only available to BIM managers and surveyors. So now let me show you the technology in action. So I am now in Google Chrome in a Cintoo Cloud project that has 56 scans or stations or setups. You can see the list of scans here. If you click on one of the scans, you will see the details, the high-res picture that comes with it, but also the scan location, the resolution, the type of scanner that was used. The best way to see the technology in action is to go to the 3D view. In the 3D view, we will stream all those high-resolution mesh-based scans. In the 3D view, you see how fast we go with streaming, 56 scans. And then you can navigate the scene either in the 3D navigation mode or go into what we call the scan mode, looking for a scan position here. Let me go inside this building, like this scan, for example. So what you see typically with point cloud software is this kind of view, which is a panoramic view. So you can move from scan to scan and then see this kind of view. What we have, this is unique with Cintoo Cloud, is we have 6 different ways of looking at this data. So this is what we call the 2D panoramic view. Also, this is a high-res picture coming from the scanner. And now we fully support the high-res picture coming from the RTC 360 from Leica as well. But you can then switch from the 2D panel to the 3D RGB. 3D RGB looks the same, but now it's no more a 2D picture, it's a 3D data, okay? It's 3D surface data with color. And if I remove the color, I go to the surface mode. And this is where the technology shines, because this surface mode will reveal details that have been captured by the laser beam on that. So you will see every single detail being and if I zoom more, you will see even more details. Of course, it all depends the resolution of the scanner. The higher the resolution of the scanner, for example, if you scan with 40 million points per scan or 160 million points per scan, the higher the density of the mesh that you will be displaying here in this web viewer. So this is a 3D surface mode, but now we also added the intensity mode. Okay, this is very new. We now fully support the intensity coming from the scanner as well. And that could be useful to detect something, some stuff. So either, again, and we also had, of course, we have also had from a long time the X-ray vision mode or the height map, where you can colorize the mesh based on the z-axis and eventually detect some floor flatness issues and things like that. Okay, so coming back to the list here, we have a 2D panoramic mode, okay, but of course the 2D panoramic mode will be limited by the overexposures and the underexposures. Now you can switch to the 3D RGB, that will be basically the same, but when you go to the surface mode, you see all those details. You can also now go to intensity mode. Okay, so very interesting new feature, the support of the intensity. And of course, when you export those scans and get them back as a structure RCP file or E57 file, the intensity also will be supported in those exported scans. Now, if you want to do a measurement, we advise you to use a surface mode because this is where you have the most crisp surface data to pick up the right points for measurements. So, and we have a new measurement tool. Let me show you this one. So you go to the measurement tool here, you add a measurement, and you will see that you can easily pick up the point you want, and then pick up the other point here. And what we display is not only the length, which we had in the past, but we also have the measurement along the X, Y, and Z axis, plus the angle, as you can see here, which is listed at the top here, okay? And of course, we save the measurement with the context. Okay, if you want to see this measurement again, you can also view that in all kind of various display modes. Okay, no big deal. If you do, let's say I do a measurement in the 3D RGB space. Okay, so let me do another measurement here in the RGB space. So I go from, sorry, let me cancel this one. I go from here to here or to here, let's say. Okay, I save the measurement. You will see that I save it with a context. So whoever will come back to this data will click on a measurement and will be put back in the same context that was used, so the same display mode that was used to make the measurement actually. Okay, and that's the same with annotations. So with this. With Cintoo Cloud, you can create annotation that can be note, private notes, or issues. Okay, and then you can also issues will come with, of course, a title, but also a severity parameter, a due date, text, etc. And you will need to assign it to a team member. And to complete this demo, let me show you the overview map. So this is a set of orthographic views of your site, starting with the top view here. What I like to do is go to the X-ray vision mode that will give you a good sense of the layout of your scan. So this is a top view, but this is a front view, and this is a left view, etc. So you can really use those 6 orthographic views as much as you want. And let's say you want to do a crop because one of your deliverables is a section of this slice or a slice of your point cloud in order, for example, to create a floor plan or to easily model this in Revit. So what you would do, let me do a crop quickly here along the y-axis, for example. So I do a quick crop like that. Okay, I can adjust my crop as I want. Okay, and now if I look at that from the front, this is what I will see here by navigating my crop along the y-axis. So I can select the best crop I want, add it to my list of crops, eventually see this crop in the 3D view, going to my list of crops here, crop number 2, you see it in the 3D space now, and you can change the display, let's say to intensity, or let's go to surface, and then you can still adjust your crop as much as you want. And this will crop also the BIM model if there was a BIM model inside. And then update your crop, and eventually what you want to do next is to export, download and export this crop. So there are 2 options. Either you want it as a point cloud, because you need to use it in Revit or AutoCAD or Navisworks, and then you will need to download it as a unified RCP or RCS, or you can or we also offer the possibility to create a unified E57 as well. So you click on export, and that will run the same Cintoo Connect that Dave showed you for upload of the data. And we use the same software to download the data and to export it and turn it back from a mesh to a point cloud. So as I said, here you have since it's a crop, The only choice you have is unstructured. In order to get the structured data, you will need to select scans or a set of scans or a work zone to download on Turnback as a structured project. But for a crop, the only option is a unified or unstructured point cloud. It can be E57, RCS, RCP. You can enable decimation as well if you want, okay, to have a lighter point cloud at the end, and then you export. That will do this mesh to point cloud conversion locally on your computer. The other option you have is to export this as a unified, as a single mesh. Also, there is an initial step here, which is a unification process. So by clicking on Create Mesh, we will run in the cloud a unification process that will create a single mesh from all those mesh-based scans. You can select the resolution. So let's go for, let's say for a scan like that, I will go for 1-inch resolution. I can select the file format between FBX, OBJ, STL. Let's go for FBX. When I click on Create here, the process will start in the cloud to create this unified mesh. And when it's available, you will be notified by email, and the mesh will be available for download in the data view. Okay, this is what I wanted to show today. Thank you very much for the attention, and we are now open for questions.